Looking at everything constitutionally now, the Assembly in Taraba and the Senate or the National Assembly at the federal level at that point in time, what is it that they did that you haven't seen with the Assembly in Taraba State?
You see, there is some political morality that has descended on the Taraba case. That political morality is keep the governor there, let him just stay in his house, and we'll run the government and just take care of him, as it were. That is the political morality. And this political morality has given rise to two governors, as it were, because there's an acting governor. He's not a deputy governor. He's an acting governor.
No, isn't that where it's a little different from the scenario you talked about? Because in this case,
yes,
the deputy is taking over.
Yes.
He's running the state. But in the previous case, the deputy, the vice, was not allowed to take over.
Just exactly what is happening now, because he is also not properly allowed. You could have seen the discordant tones that are coming from ex-commissioners and people who are around. It's almost like
that's X.
This. You are that's.
They're not in the thick of things.
Oh, no, but these are all part of the political matrix. These are people who influence things in Taraba. It's almost like this is an on-end seat for you.
But if you're an ex, you will always comment on anything that happens. That doesn't mean you are in that decision-making process.
We are trying to attach weight to the opinions of those who are around Governor Suntai with regards to the governance of the current, the acting governor. It's almost like he is an interloper, as it were.
Is there any case now where the acting governor has taken a decision and then maybe hangers on or someone says, no, you cannot do this, to warrant all of these arguments going back and forth?
If it is not open to the media, the whole script of having to bring him back and give an impression that he is very, very healthy and all of that, and he's ready to take over. And in that argument of the man is not permanently incapacitated, and to that extent he cannot be removed, all point to the fact that we want to continue to be in government. So there is a contest, and that contest has resulted in two SSGs taking instructions from different principals, as it were. In the same place.
You know why I asked,
so the answer to it is,
why I brought the issue of the assemblies is because of what the Taraba Assembly has done. It's quite novel. We didn't see that during the late President Yar'adua's time. Now they have convoked a medical panel, and that's another big plus, that they're testing that section of the Constitution which empowers them to do all of that, with the personal physician of Governor Suntai being a member of all of that. Shouldn't we wait and see what comes out of that?
Sula, indeed, that medical panel should have been long convoked. They should have impaneled that committee a long time. That would have saved us all of this yo-yo, as it were, going back and forth and all of that. Let the medical panel look at him, investigate the state of his health, and determine whether or not he is fit enough to continue to be governor. And that would be over. And we won't be here talking about the same matter. But like I told you, some level of political morality got into it. God saved him, and we cannot be this wicked to him, somebody who was your principal and all of that. Let him stay by the side, run the government, take care of him and all of that. That is not envisaged by the Constitution. So that is why it has resulted to almost a parallel government. Parallel government is those who are by the side, generally trying to remove, probably not very happy with the acting governor. So that's what that has resulted. But my take on it is that the medical panel should be convoked the way they have impaneled them, and a final constitutional decision taken on it.
Because some will suggest that, look, having seen this image while he was there receiving people, and so if this was the last image they saw before this recent matter that popped up in the media, they might have as well assumed that, okay, we're not exactly sure if he's seen here receiving people. On what grounds are you going to say then that he's permanently incapacitated?
But you could have seen that his wife is helping him to even walk. We're talking about helping him to walk, and we're talking about the demands of governance.
Let us quickly, spell out some things, because I think that some people are going to feel a little, maybe put off. People with disability, people will say that if they have disability, doesn't mean that mentally they cannot do anything or that they cannot stand the rigors of office. And that the fact that, our constitution doesn't make room for recognition that people could become disabled in one form or the other doesn't mean that because people are not like us or how they used to be, we should now write them off as people being physically or, totally incapacitated to do what they need to do.
I've made a very careful difference between disability and being fit to run an office. If somebody, for instance, is crippled and he is mentally alert, I started by talking about the man's cognitive dissonance, the state of his orientation.
But that has not been established.
A situation where you do not even know where you are.
That has not been established.
No. But what we are talking about is observation. What we have observed. A man comes from UK, somebody comes to say hello to him and all of that. He says he's just coming from Abuja.
But observation is not allowed in the Constitution.
No. Part of even the medical examination is also observation.
That is just one example.
It may not be essentially a laboratory thing. It is also observation.
That's
when you go to hospital, they will first of all look at you and say, you are looking this, you are looking that, and all. That is observation before they can even start touching you.
But that is one example.
It is part of the report.
That is one example that we have given. There are other examples. I mean, when he came back, when he was speaking with people, he sounded very coherent. And the other examples, when he first of all got back, and I think that, there was even an attempt at an interview of some sort. We also saw when former General Yakubu Gowon went to see him as well. Good. He sounded like he knew where he was and he knew what he was saying. Good. So has that been established very clearly? That he doesn't even have a sense of where he is at a particular point in time.
That is exactly the work of this panel. That is exactly what we want this panel to do, so that there will be a scientific color to it. It's no longer an observation made by George Ekeh or many Nigerians, as it were. It will be a medical report that can be relied on. That's why I like where we're going to now.
Also,
on this matter.
At that time, the argument was they didn't know his whereabouts. I mean, they knew his whereabouts, but the state of health was not known, and then governance was suffering, and then it comes back. And so now, what is the argument? That is governance put on hold, or what are they basing this?
The argument is that
panel?
The argument is that, in fairness to him, a number of people who want to use his presence around the government house to continue to appropriate power and resources are saying that he's fit enough. That is why that argument of that we have to wait until he's permanently incapacitated. And then the adjunct argument now is that no medical doctor is capable of certifying somebody permanently incapacitated.
Yeah, but they are saying that he's fit enough. Is that affecting governance in the state?
Then when he's fit enough, then he takes over as governor.
No,
that's what it is.
At the moment, that's the deputy is in charge.
No. But when they say he is fit enough, the implication of it is that the governor comes back. And we are saying, from what we are seeing, that this man is not capable of taking the heat of governance. And like I've told you, what it takes to be in government. And in short, there are times you don't even sleep until about 2 o'clock. You are in meetings. I had once been given an appointment, in the presidential villa for 11:30 p.m. I thought it was a topographical error. And I got dressed. Got to the place, they say, your appointment is 11:30 p.m. I thought it was 11:30 a.m. Indeed, by the time we saw the president at that point in time, there were 3 other people waiting.
What if he
In other words, he must have closed by about 1 o'clock. We are talking about how fit you can be. The president of America runs about 7 miles every morning before he dresses up to go to work. That is how fit you have to be. So it is not a situation where we have to manage,
but our governors here don't run 7 miles before they go to work.
Say that again?
Our governors here don't run that
7
miles.
They may not, but I'm trying to give you an idea of how
maybe not
physically and mentally fit you have to be able to do right governance.
What if he comes up and says, well, I've asked the deputy to be in charge, handle those rigorous matters. I'll just hang on and do certain things. Will that change the discussion?
That was not the intent of the Constitution. The Constitution says a governor is a governor.
No, by that I mean if he makes people believe that he's got an understanding with his deputy, there's no rift whatsoever, governance is not suffering. What will people talk about next?
I think that is the whole essence of this script. and that we don't want to arrive there. So we're happy that the House of Assembly has set up a medical panel that will determine the state of the health of the governor.